Hello, this is your hurricane update on Hurricane Florence. It's now made into a hurricane. And what we're going to do is we're going to open the charts up right here, and we're going to take a look at, we're at the Central Florida Hurricane Center right now, and this is a news bulletin from the National Hurricane Center, and it shows the positions of the hurricane at 24.4 degrees north, 56.3 degrees west. Maximum sustained winds of 75 miles an hour. Movement to the west at 6 miles an hour, which is typical hurricane's forward moving speed. Now, it shows a very slight recurve, and it shows it hitting the southern part of North Carolina. That's where they're showing it hitting at the National Hurricane Center. And I just got the latest update on the what they're expecting the wind speed to be. When it hits the coast of North Carolina, they're expecting it to make landfall with 140 mile an hour sustained winds when it makes landfall, which would be a very bad hurricane. We haven't had a hurricane strike the Atlantic seaboard square like that with that sort of wind speeds for quite a while now, you know. So there she is. There's a picture of her, the latest satellite imagery. It looks like the eye closed over a little bit. The eye was open earlier in the satellite imagery. I'm seeing the satellite imagery where the eye is filled in a little bit. But it looks like it's got really strong convection right now. And it's picked up steam and it's lost surface pressure, which means it's intensifying. Now, if we take a look here, here's some satellite imagery pictures of it, and we take a look here. Now, this is the important map. This shows this map shows the computer modeling. This is very important. Let me close the chart in just a little bit so we can take a little bit better look at this modeling, and I'll tell you what I see when I look at the modeling. I see this morning earlier I studied the modeling, and it was more consensus of it coming right in and smacking into the southern part of North Carolina, and there's still an awful lot of the models show it doing that, including the National Hurricane Center model, but they take the consensus of the models as close as they can. But there's also something that I've noticed that's happened here now, and there's a number of the models that are taking it a little bit further northward. And just off the coast of Cape Hatteras here, you can see on this northward models that it goes into a little bit of weak steering currents. And some of the models even make a few loop-de-loops and stuff. Take it just off the coast of the Carolinas here and make a few loop-de-loops. And that shows weak steering currents if it does that. So it looks like there's two sets of actual, half of the models have been going further south, and half of the models are going further north and showing getting into this little area off of Cape Hatteras where there's weak steering currents. So we're going to have to watch the modeling carefully on this one to see what it does. But evidently, if the storm does go north, the models are showing that the steering currents just to the north and east of Cape Hatteras are rather weak. Also, the models also show that if it goes westward, once it gets up over it looks like not Tennessee but Virginia, it looks like there's weak steering currents there, but it wouldn't matter so much at that point because the storm would be downgraded because it's inland. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with these models. It's very important. As the days progress, as she nears closer to land, we're going to get a more and more consensus on what these models are going to tell us exactly what the storm is going to do and exactly where it's going to make landfall. As it gets closer to the shore, we're going to see that. Okay, as far as pressures are concerned, we're looking at a drop from 989 to 984. This has increased the wind speed 5 miles an hour to 75 miles an hour at this point. So this has been your update on this hurricane. Stay tuned, and we're going to have an update every day for the next few days. But when it really gets close to land, we're probably going to be doing 2 updates a day just before it makes landfall, because this is going to be probably the biggest hurricane we've had in a while. This is probably the biggest, most powerful one we've had in a while, because putting it just off the east coast there with 140-mile-an-hour sustained winds, that's a powerful hurricane. Bye-bye, guys.